All right. So at this time, I'm going to be inviting the panelists to join me on stage as you are announced. This session will be moderated by Colleen Douglas. Colleen, where are you? Can't miss her. Okay, so you're going to come up, right? All right. Thank you. I said this feels like a big family reunion in the Michael. Like, this feels like when you have like the family and the extended family and the cousins and the aunties and, right. Don't you, huh? Right, exactly. You know, you have all the family coming together. So, ladies and gentlemen, on this panel we have Down Sound Productions and Some Fests. Anybody getting ready for Some Fest? Yeah? Woo! Hello? Of course. Please help me welcome Joseph Bogdanovich to the stage. Looking sharp. All right, there you go. Athletic and all, of course. We also want to welcome Scott Dunn of Dream Entertainment. Anybody getting ready for Dream? Dream Weekend. What? Whole heap of parties, you know, whole heap of things. And of course, if you didn't see it in Vogue and you weren't there last weekend, you missed something incredible. Calabash Literary Festival, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Justine Hensel for stage. And let's clap her for staging an extraordinary event. Amazing. And we have Style Week Jamaica Dwight Peters. Dwight, is he here? Haven't seen him? I don't see him, no? Oh. Okay. But we know how Style Week locked down the whole of New Kingston, right? But we do have with us the man in the house, Tony Rebel, Patrick Barrett. Many people don't know that name, you know. They only know Tony Rebel. From the one, the only Rebel Salutes. And this time I'm going to be handing over to moderator Colleen Douglas.
Thank you, Debbie. Good morning. Is it still morning? Good morning, everyone. The podium is doing a wonderful job of blocking us from this side of the room. Good morning, this side of the room. Good morning, Amina.
Test.
When I look over at you, it's because we need some strength from my storyteller. Good morning. Please do not be distracted by the food that's on your table. We really beg you for the next hour to lend us your ears. Thank you so much. I've never sat beside you before. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever met you before. I'm Colleen. You won't forget me after today, right?
I certainly will not.
Do you go to these festivals and you see the same people every single year and you're introduced to them every single year? Who've had that experience? I do it all the time. Every year I'm introduced to the same people and they don't remember me. Hopefully after today, I'll be at some fest and he'll remember me. As you heard, my name is Colleen Douglas. I'm an arts marketing professional and I'm very proud to be the marketing and communications director at the first and only institution of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean, the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. I said that in one breath, so it means I'm well paid. And British Council was quite kind to share that we have a wonderful exhibition. I invite you to join us tomorrow evening at 6:30 for a special viewing of that exhibition. Thanks very much, Dania and Andrea, for allowing that shameless PR plug, but that's what you do when you're a marketer. I'm going to go right over to the panelists who will give 3 to 5 minutes to just share with us, not too much about themselves, you know, like Austin did, where you sort of introduce the characters and allow them to reveal themselves. They'll reveal themselves as the conversation continues. So starting with Mr. Bogdanovich, I got it right? Okay. Joe will share with us a little bit about Sumfest, a little bit about himself, and we'll do the same for our next 3 panelists.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. You can hear me? Is this okay? Yes. I think this is really a great seminar that you're having, workshop. very much necessary, and I really want to thank the British Council and the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, you know, the JCDC, TF, the TEF, and of course TLN and the British Council. So thank you for arranging for this. We need more of this kind of unity through music. You know, I look at this a little differently than what I've heard from some of the previous panelists, and you know, I look at it like, how do you get into the festival business, and how do you and it's become a very big business internationally. And you know, we at Down Sound Entertainment, DSE, you know, we purchased Reggae Sumfest in 2016, roughly 2 months before the opening of the festival. And DSE hired all the talent and marketing of the festival and introduced streaming along. Well, that's what we did there. And Summerfest Promotions did a great deal of the on-ground production, and that went well. Result, significant increase from 2015 attendance. And 2017 was our first year being at the helm ourselves of this festival, and that's including production, marketing, and streaming. Result, attendance on Dance All Night, hit capacity, and a record presentation. And Reggae Night, the biggest attendance in many years. 60 million digital impressions. Live stream on Friday and Saturday it hit 1.956 million people looking at it at one time. And tens of millions of people watching it on YouTube over the last year. So it just shows the significance, you know, the significance of how we can compete on a little island in the Caribbean with the best in the world because of technology. And we have to be technologically astute. Jamaicans are very creative. They just do all sorts of things that other people can't do. And they do break records. They are visionaries. And it's good to be a part of that tribe. So far in 2018, we have expanded our sponsorship internationally, providing a window to the first world of business. And this is a necessity for Down Sound because our kind of productions are deep. And we really want to continue to raise the bar of production and connectivity because it is a source to attract people to this great island, Jamaica, and to get people to understand the swag and the kind of, you know, the real thing about Jamaica. So that's really, really important to us. In addition, you know, this year each year we kind of trying to raise the game in terms of what a real festival is. This is not a stage show, it's a festival. It's 8 days this time around. And that's including a lot of parties and symposium that will happen where international people and local people can get a chance to get the inner workings of how we work and how the music business works here. And I think that's something that the people that come for the culture, the intellectual people from abroad that likes to really get into the nitty-gritty of the spirit of reggae and dancehall music. So we're providing that. And we're also expanding this event into a merchandising mall, which is being a new addition to what we're doing. And I think that's to show local product and locally made items. I think that's really, really a contribution to the spirit of festival life. And it's 8 days. So that's basically the name of the game, and in order to be successful on a level, you have to get the support, you have to deliver the goods, you have to be on time, you have to understand the business of entertainment. It's not just a show, it's a spirit, it's a feeling. And if you do that, you might have a chance to succeed. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Joe. Please use your pens and paper that were provided in your folders so that you can note your questions, comments. Comments must be kept brief for the panelists when we're finished with this part of the proceedings. I move over to Dream Entertainment, the most highly anticipated summer parties. Please welcome Mr. Scott Dunn.
Hello. Is mic on? Yeah, so actually Justine just asked me, what's going on here, because I came up with some notes, but actually walked in when Minister Grange was presenting, and then Enola, Leslie, and Michael all put me under some pressure because they were all very data-driven presentations. So I said, well, let me not be the one stupid-looking one up here and not speaking from a data position. So with Dream Entertainment, we actually have 2 existing festivals, Dream Weekend, coming up in the summer, and Exodus Carnival over the Carnival period. And we have one coming on stream for 2019. I guess festival might be a loose term for that, but we're doing a Dream Weekend cruise, which I guess you could say is a festival on the sea. It's a 6-day, 5-night cruise. We've chartered a Royal Caribbean ship with 1,600 cabins, a capacity of almost 4,000 people. And it's really, for us, it's our most ambitious project to date. And, we're anticipating it, and the feedback has been good. We launched about a month ago. We've already sold a few hundred cabins, so really looking forward to that. So just to give you a little information behind our events, Dream Weekend, which this year is August 2nd to 7th, August 2nd to 6th, sorry, a 5-day festival. We do 10 events this year. We average about 7,500 people per event. So you're looking at about 75,000 ticket holders, but about 30,000 unique ticket holders, because obviously some of the people go to more than one event. So we see about 30,000 unique people over the course of the 5 days. And I'm using some information from the Tourist Board, who did a survey in 2017. Survey size of 821 people, so a pretty decent size sample. The average person that comes to Dream Weekend, this is both local and international, spends about $345 per day. If you're going to average, I'd say we're seeing about 12,500 people per day times 6 days, because most people are actually in the grill for at least 6 to 7 days. You're looking at about a total spend of $26 million or about 3 billion Jamaican dollars is spent in the grill over the course of that week. Just to give you an idea of the split, most of that is actually spent on accommodation, so don't go thinking that us as a festival holders are seeing a significant part of that money. Nobody tried to pick my pocket. I don't have any money. Of our attendees, 64% of them are visitors, and that's significant. I said 64% of this is international. So if you're talking about, I say, using 30,000 unique people, you're talking about over 18,000 international visitors. 66% of those are from the US, mostly from Eastern Seaboard, 16% from the UK, and 15% from Canada. And what's even more surprising is that a lot of people are under the impression that most of our foreigners are actually Jamaicans living overseas. In this survey, the Tourist Board actually asked people if they consider themselves non-resident Jamaicans. 74% responded no to that. So it's actually just straight up international. People would really know Jamaican connection is most of the foreigners that we're getting now. Another question they had asked them, what was the main purpose of their visit to Jamaica? And the possible answers were vacation, Dream Weekend, business, honeymoon, and other. 81% of these people responded the main purpose of their visit to Jamaica was for Dream Weekend. So it's not like, it's not like people just so happen to be in Jamaica and we're pulling them out of their hotel rooms to come to the festival. People are actually planning a trip for the purpose of coming for Dream Weekend. So that's Dream Weekend in a nutshell. And just quickly on Exodus Carnival, because that's a pretty new event for us. We just did our second year. We are already up to almost 3,000 revelers in costume on the road. And, if you kind of use even a conservative figure, so Dream being at $345 per day, if you say the average person even spending $250 per day, most people who come for Carnival come for about a week into Kingston. And this is money now coming into Kingston. You're looking at about $4.5 million US dollars, or about 600 million Jamaican, being spent in the Kingston economy for the course of that week. And again, most of these people, again, coming out of the US, UK, Canada, and the Caribbean. But again, this year we saw people come as far and wide as Portugal, Australia. We had 2 revelers from Greenland, believe it or not, Luxembourg, Ireland, the Czech Republic. So it's truly a global event. I see the guys from Jamaica, Bellamy and Richie over there. I think as a Carnival in Jamaica committee, I looked at the model, Enola spoke about, in Edinburgh, and Michael, in terms of how the whole community and all the stakeholders come together. I think that's what we've been able to do with Carnival, that it's truly kind of hand-holding movement, between Bacchanal, Jamaica, and Exodus or Carnival, that we've really come together and built this as a national product, and kind of put some of the competitiveness to the side. And I think that's kind of something that we all need to look at more. Not look at trying to compete with each other locally, because our market, again, is so tiny. Really about trying to come together and figure out how we can all make our festivals more of a global product. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. You did very well. Did he kill you with data? You liked it. Great. Justine, what do I love about Calabash? Absolutely everything. I still am waiting on matching them with Edna to say the first and only annual literary festival. I want you to go back to that at some stage. But please welcome Justine Hensel, founder, one of the co-founders of Calabash, who will share with us a little bit more about that festival.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thanks to British Council for putting this together. Rising tide lifts all boats. And what I love about our little island is the diversity that we have just even on this stage. Every single one of these is completely different. It feels different. And we can do them all excellently. So there is this perception that in Jamaica things are going to run late, we're not going to deliver what we say we're going to, and I think we're putting that aside now. We've realized that that's not okay. We cannot compete on an international stage with that kind of attitude. And at Calabash we say, we run with Swiss precision with Jamaican vibes. And it's absolutely it's possible to do that, and that's what we aim to achieve. British Council sent me to Edinburgh Festival through Momentum in 2013, and it was a huge eye-opener for me. Calabash at that point has been going since 2001, so we've been around for a while. This year was our 14th staging, but yet I learned a lot from Edinburgh, and I came back all fired up because of it. So I know that you three will have had a similar impression. In terms of Calabash, we started basically, it was 3 people who came together with this crazy idea about a literary festival in a fishing village on the south coast of Jamaica. And at our launch at Red Bones, which has always been our Kingston home, somebody, a very successful businessman, said to us, you're crazy, right? I mean, I've come for the free liquor, but you're crazy. And we said, okay, maybe. And we had probably 300 people at that first Calabash, and now we have over 3,000. And you spoke about the you spoke about the Edinburgh Book Festival being the most prestigious festival in the world, and it is. It is not necessarily the largest. We have a larger audience at any single reading of any festival except for Cartagena, except for Medellin. And we have achieved this in a little fishing village on the south coast of Jamaica, in a country where we are told that we don't read. It's not true. I think that's what we're really good at doing, is defying stereotypes and making people realize that their impression of Jamaica and Jamaicans is false, and we can change that perception. You know, we're the little festival that could, and yesterday we had a profile in Vogue, and it said, it said that, you know, there's a literary festival in a sleepy fishing village on the south coast. And in terms of our success, we are a free festival. So we're very different from the other three up here. We don't charge a ticket price. So we cannot judge it monetarily in terms of ticket sales. What we have been able to do, but we do need to do it more with more statistics, is we know anecdotally the effect it has on the Treasure Beach community and the economy of southern St. Elizabeth. And we know that every single room from Mandeville to Black River is full. And we know that everybody is benefiting from the festival, and that is tremendously important to us. We know that it puts Jamaica in the international press in a way that we don't normally see Jamaica as a group of people who read and discuss literature. So that's also important. So positioning, which came up in terms of Edinburgh, that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, is that we're able to position Jamaica in a different way internationally. In terms of going global, we always said we were doing this primarily for our local audience, which again, you create a festival for who you have around you, and then others will come. And they will appreciate it, because otherwise you're not doing it authentically. And I think we have stayed very true to our core values: earthy, inspirational, daring, and diverse. In 2001, that's what we were. In 2018, that's what we are. And going forward, that's what we will be. I think when festivals run into trouble is when they're not sure of their brand identity and they're trying to be all things to all people. We're not. We're very clear. We don't have a children's section. We do that on purpose. It's a grown-up weekend. We don't censor what's said on the stage. We're very happy for people to do a children's festival. That would be great. That's not Calabash. That's something else. There's enough room for different things to happen. And so making sure that you're always true to your values, your brand values, essential. So they say, what's going to be new about Calabash this year? Well, nothing and everything, because we're going to be true to our values, but the offerings are all going to be different. So it's about staying true to your course and having the trust of your audience, right? A lot of people, I'm sure, are going to book for Sumfest before they know everybody that's on the lineup, because they trust that that's going to happen. They're going to book Rebel Salute. They're going to come for Dream. They trust Carnival is going to be a certain type of experience, so they're going to book it without knowing the details. And I think building trust in our brands is essential, especially when we're going after a global market. So I am very happy to be here. I'm glad we're all sharing our experiences, because we can all learn from each other. And we can especially come together to advocate with data to say to our government and our government agencies, like with Edinburgh, they put something like, when I was there in 2013, the government put £10 million into it, and yet Scotland made 261 million, right? So clearly the return on investment is phenomenal, and we need to persuade the powers that be that it is time to put money into the festivals and see the spin-offs that will derive from it.
Thank you so much, Justin. Because he's my good friend, because I was going to Rebel Salute before I was supposed to go. He's remained true to his truth. Rebel Salute has taught me that you don't need to drink to be sexy and to have fun. It's the only place that was bold enough for women to walk around with weed in hampers on their arms, if they want to. You've moved, it's evolved where you're not smelling it if you don't want to smell it. You go to a kind of corner, a curb, you know it? Mr. Tony Rebel, who is now very popular for his brand, Rebel Salute, probably more than Tony Rebel.
So greetings, everyone. Yeah, man, bless. I've been listening to most of the comments and the speeches, and yeah, I'm sounding all right. We give thanks. British Council is a good thing. When I look in the audience, I am definitely looking at some brethren and sisters who I know who are some young promoters, and yeah, I know you're looking forward to hear what I have to say in a particular way. I could come with some of my datas though, and you know what I mean, that's something there. Yeah, but I just want to tell you, say I start from a little birthday celebration in Manchester, and at the end of that show, I decided that we will continue. It was where Rebel Salute is at now, I wasn't thinking of it at the initial stage. However, I know that you're all thinking about how to globalize or to get your brand where you really want it or where it can make some sense for you. There is no prescribed blueprint how you do that something there. Yeah? Still, there are fundamental principles that you must hold on to. And Justin just mentioned one of them that is very important, and it is trust. So you must make sure that the quality that you present at all times, it is something that your audience will want to see again. And not only come to see it again because you persuade them, but the experience must be something that, is second to none. We have started Rebel Salute down in Manchester, and then we came upon a certain amount of difficulties right through the time. But then, because my core principles is that, we have to exercise stick-to-itiveness and perseverance, because them things they're going to need it. And then you know the story about perseverance, how it is a great element to succeed. You have to knock long enough and loud enough before you can wake up somebody. But it is important to make sure that when you start to sow that seed, because it don't become a brand immediately. You have to grow it. And that comes through sustainability. When it becomes a brand, then you have to make sure that you even extend that brand to a bigger brand. Jamaica is very unique in its positioning right now. Well, from a long time, because people like Bob Marley and Jimmy Cliff and Peter Tosh, and to a lesser extent, myself and some others, we have gone to four corners of the earth to kind of promote Jamaica and Jamaica's culture. Even in some of my songs, you can hear me say, reggae put Jamaica up on top. That was deliberate. Yeah. So whenever you have a brand that the quality is superb, it automatically will reach in the global space. Because you see, the global space now is very tiny because of technological advancement. Yeah. Whenever it is placed in that marketplace, once the quality is something that is different, something that people don't see all the time, something that people can relate to, they will gravitate towards it. And a little data just to show you the thing that we have done, over 50% of those who come to Rebel Salute is foreigners. And them come just because of Rebel Salute. The hotel data are there to show that from Thursday it's full and Monday morning it's empty. Yeah? We give thanks for that. So that thing, what name again, the Edinburgh who? No man, you mentioned, I'll write it down, you know. The thundering hooves. I like that because we need something like that here for real, where we can present empirical data to whosoever we have to make sure that we get what we supposed to get. Because the Virgin was mentioning that when you go, especially for sponsorship, you mustn't go on like you're beg, and it is true. I always say that from my brand, because I have positioned it so well, it must be a case of reciprocity. When it comes to Jamaica, if we bring the heads in beds and we add to the GDP, then it is important for the powers that be to make sure you support things like these. You know what I mean? Like the festival that makes people come here. Because the truth is, when a man say Luciana or Chronix or whoever on a stage and get the vibe that they are pushing forward, they are going to want to come to see the place where that energy is coming from. And Jamaica has that uniqueness in terms of culture, in terms of everything. That is why at a Rebel Salute, you find that we display a lot of indigenous products when it comes to the food, when it comes to what we drink, and the uniqueness about not selling no spirit in bottle, no alcohol, neither 1, 2, or 3, much more all. We don't do that. And it is okay, because once you are true to that brand and people know that is what you're all about, then they will support you. And don't feel like I haven't been approached by a alcoholic company. Of course I have. And the money looked pretty too. I was tempted, yes. But did I yield to temptation? No. Because people like when you are true to what you're dealing with. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I mean, when I was being introduced by my good friend Colleen, she emphasized a lot about the weed, yeah? And yes, we are one of the first stage shows or festival in Jamaica that we were exempt by making sure that we do the proper application according to what the new constitution gives. The legislation. Yes, thank you, my daughter. She's a lawyer, that's why she's talking like that. Thank you. Thank you. And so when that came about, it was important. I remember somebody said to us that, oh, we're just normalizing what was there all the time. And I was happy for that, because I mean, the Virgin said that if you put your proposal a particular way to any entity with your empirical data, they're supposed to give a positive response. Not so with the Rasta youth, because we have done that all the time. One of the impediment is what? I'm going to say, ganja in the place, rebel. Seeing? We are more than that. We are more than crushing out in hand and smoking and get high. And that is why we have the herb curb, which we bring that into a more educational focus. That's why we have symposium with people who can articulate the medicinal values, the therapeutic values, and you see everybody I go for the economical right now because everybody says that money can make from it. We, first of all, a man who sit up here, may not even smoke. But I advocate for weed because I have some of the oil there that help all the pimples on my face. And get rid of my colas, I get them, and good for my skin and all of that kind of stuff. That is what we do at Rebel Salute. We kind of display the healthier aspects of our culture. We try to do that at all times. And, you know, within our culture, it has a variety, just like what Justin said. When you look up here, yeah, and variety is the spice. For us, we want to display the best of us. And that is why when my brethren them who sing songs that are derogatory and that are implying that being a gunman is good, we ask them kindly to come in your name that your parents give you on your birth certificate And please do the things that can motivate our people and inspire them. And because we go all over the place, but just come from London yesterday. And everywhere up there, every party I go, every stage show I go to, our culture is the heart of it. When you listen to the radio, everybody singing reggae or on reggae beat, whether them want to call it tropical beat or African whatever, or reggaeton. You hear the Dave Kelly drum patterns in it. You hear some of the old studio one, bass lines still modifying and playing. Hence, why a man like Flower Gun is suing Sony for 300 million. See, so our thing is out there, and we need to protect it, we need to support it, and that is what Rebel Salute always want to put across, is the best of who we can be.
Thanks very much, Tony.
Oh, one more time. I need to say something else. Sorry. Let me just take
You're not
let me just
making
take one second. Because the Green Moon Festival, yes, the Green Moon Festival, we have partnered with them and British Council last year, yeah? And we have we try to educate some youths from different countries. And my foundation did that, Rebel Salute Foundation. We had people from Colombia, we had people from Cuba, Venezuela, and some from Jamaica too. And I just want to say, Rebel Salute will be 18th and 19th, 2019 in January, and we are partnering again with the British Council to do same, right? Little bit more money and thing, but it's all right. Okay.
Thank you, sir. And the shameless plug, welcome. Did you have an announcement? Yes. For 7 days? Justin, when is the next Calabash while we're at it? 2020? I'm going to start with you, Justin, because you Justine, thank you. You pride yourself in your daring. That's one of your core values. And passion is your price for entry. So I'd love for you to share with the audience how you fund Calabash, and how do you survive on really not having a gate price, and if there is any potential for you to earn from it.
Hello. Right, so we are a free festival, so that means that we exist on sponsorships, grants, and donations. We do sell merchandise. We do have art and craft booths, but we actually rent those booths basically at the cost of which we pay for them. So we don't make much money at all on the art and craft. That's part of the whole community outreach. But we do rely on the kindness of, the Jamaica Tourist Board, for example, have been our partners probably from inception. And they've been a very, very important partner, because we do put heads in beds, but they also realize the importance of the column inches that we get across the globe. The Chase Fund has been a sponsor. So those are, in terms of branding and certain companies, we won't get them at Calabash, because like Rebel Salute, we have certain guidelines. If you go to Calabash, you will notice that under the reading tent and on the reading stage, there is no logo. There is not even a Calabash logo, which means that certain companies who want to plaster their logo across the face of the author won't come. They won't support Calabash because it will not be their festival. The festival is going to have a backdrop of the Caribbean Sea. And it is going to say that, our authors and our audience are the most important things. So that may sound a little difficult and challenging, and it has been at times, but just like with Rebel, when you find the right sponsors and the right partners, they understand what it is that you're trying to convey. And so the Jamaica Tourist Board, the Chase Fund, the British Council, the Canadian High Commission, the US State Department, all of them have come on as sponsors year after year, and that has been very helpful. And then we have corporate sponsors, for example, Wisynco, who have been with us from the very, very beginning. And this year, for example, they got on board in terms of the recycling, which was also a big deal for us. So private donations, grants, and sponsorship, that's what we rely on.
Okay, thank you very much. Please prepare your questions. We'll be able to take about 5 from the audience in a few. Just a minute, Tony. I was actually going to go to Joe and then come back to you.
I was just saying something to,
go ahead.
to the audience by what my good friend here says. We don't charge either. We don't charge. We just ask for a small donation.
Okay. A little less discreet than Calabash because you go through a gate, a turnstile. So it's a little less discreet, but yes, he asked for a donation. Thank you for that shameless plug again. I want to go to Joe, one, because he started and I forgot what his voice sounded like because he was the first one. But you are actually the only one here who did not create your own festival. You somehow decided to take on one that was created. What prompted you to make that kind of investment in Reggae Sumfest?
Well, that's a question that people ask me from time to time. Before Reggae Sumfest, there was Sting. And Sting was 30 years old at the time, and the longest reigning festival in Jamaica in reggae music and dancehall. And the reason why I got involved with Sting, because it was a major musical festival that was on the verge of bankruptcy, and I had to step in and see what I could do to revive that great brand. And I did so for a number of years, behind the scenes and finally in front of the scenes, returned health and stopped the violence, managed to introduce pay-per-view TV to 179 countries. So putting this brand on a very firm foundation and let them to go the way they wanted to go. Same thing happened with Reggae Sumfest. Reggae Sumfest, 25, 24 years is when I got involved in 24 years. And they were in trouble. And I couldn't, because I really am, I'm very passionate about reggae music and dancehall music and Jamaican culture internationally and here. And I said, gee, this is another opportunity we cannot let this festival die. There won't be any more left, with the exception of Rebel Salute and maybe a few others. We need to expand the festival experience. We need to be more united and help one another in this place which is so competitive. So we really have to smarten up and start thinking how we can work together to help, because more festivals, more good music festivals helps tourism, it helps spread the culture, it helps give employment to everybody. And so what happened, the reason why I got involved is because the Summerfest people came to me and asked me they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. So, so that's basically it, and the rest is history.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Tony a minute, Scott, because I want him to assure us that he won't run into trouble with Rebel Salute or go bankrupt, so you have to be bought out. How do you manage to stay afloat?
Question is serious. I mean, my real Rasta for sure, I'm a spiritual person. So I kind of live one day at a time and make sure that at all times I do my best. I know we call him White God, he's my white friend, good friend. So we call him White God, but a while ago him sound like Jesus. Sound like him is the Savior. Luckily me he is good friend. However, one of the core principles about keeping a stage show is to make sure that you do all that you can do every stone, you move them. What else you can't do? You leave it up to the audience. And I want to take this time out to just big up all of those people who have been an ardent fan of Rebel Salute. The saluters, I want to respect you enough. Because a lot of times when all the big corporations say, nah, can't take the smell of the weed, Rebel. It's like the people I say, but me down there, I'm not smell it. Me I buy my ticket and go next year again. And that pays the bill. That is why I mentioned that I'm like you, who don't charge, but ask for that donation to help them pay the bills. Now, how can I guarantee that? You know that one time, me and Joe in a big negotiation and it never come true. Yeah, Joe serious. Joe like good things. Yeah, but guess what? It's not like some of the time me never bankrupt too. But guess what? Me tell him all the time, me and him quarrel, you know, like me say, you have the money, but me have the ideas. so that's what they all think. I know. So what I can tell you is that I am not selfish. Yeah? As a Rasta man, I prefer sell veg. Yeah? So what I have done is surround myself with some of the brightest young people. And all of them are some university graduate in terms of I'm picking them and so. I'm going to make sure I give them the blueprint. So I've given them the blueprint and I've showed them how to make sure if, you know, I feel like go Africa and I come back, then make sure say them do that. And make sure them teach for them generation too. Because we as a people, we are the only one who I notice in this country who start things and then we dash it where we throw it where we sell it and them thing there. Rasta is not for sale. So if you know Mr. Robert Bryan out there, the first time I do it in two days down in Ocherias, and when the money gets hard for come by in the long run, him say about 20. Do the Saturday alone because it never fail. I said no, we have to grow. We have to move from one stage to another because we used to have 60, 70 artists one night, and we said no, we have 2 nights. You know what I mean? The people always crying for that. We have done surveys and it shows that. And yeah, I hold it for the 2 days and it is happening. You know what I mean? Robert just tell me some nice things when I'm just down a plantation cove.
That you're going to tell us in a little bit.
And then when you come 2019, 18 and 19, yes, it's my shameless plug. You're going to be shocked and surprised with what you're going to have. And it is not just artists on stage. It will be very much experiential.
We have a fabulous company working with us because he's my friend, I can tell you. Control Tony's mic for me. Yes. Scott, Dream Entertainment. I've observed that you go overseas. Rebel Salute does it too. Sunset does it too. But you tend to do a lot to draw in people from overseas. Can you share with us some of your marketing strategies that you use to get people to come to Jamaica just for parties?
Well, correcting it is not just for parties, it's really for a vacation. It's an experience which so happens to involve doing a lot of partying for the most part. But in terms of our marketing, I mean, like how marketing should be, it's constantly shifting. You know, what we started off with, you know, almost 10 years ago to what we're doing now is vastly different. I mean, our demographic has changed significantly. We started off being mostly college-age kids to now being predominantly people, I would say, early 30s. So it's a young professional market, and how we market to them has changed. One of the things we do is we've done a number of launches internationally. So we have had launches in China, Germany, Barbados, St. Lucia, Guyana. In the UK, we have, probably 7, 8 different cities in the States. We've done multiple launches in Toronto, including on university campuses, nightclubs. But no, to be honest, I think in terms of bang for buck, social media is the biggest thing for us. I mean, what I find is, not to knock anyone in the media, but when you spend money on radio or newspapers, television, once that campaign is over, there's no more return. With social media, if I spend that same money on social media, I'm building followers, building, getting likes, and you can go back to those people without necessarily spending the same kind of money. I mean, I use a Kim Kardashian as an example all the while. She would never have to spend $1 on an ad. She have 20 million plus people on social media. She can, it's a free source. So, I would say, we do the launches internationally, but we use social media a lot. We also connect with a lot with travel agents and tour operators, and have them sell packages. And, it's a lot of word of mouth, though. It's a lot of people that have come, enjoy the festival, and we use them as ambassadors, whether formally or informally. So we find people who are influencers in their communities. So, it's anything from Jamaican restaurant owners to DJs on radio to travel agents to, club promoters and party promoters in different cities. And we empower them to spread the word about Dream and people who are genuinely passionate about it. We're not trying to reach out to people who have no interest. Most of the people who work for us and who are ambassadors for are people who've been to Dream 3-4 times before they started working for us. And we use those people to spread the word and try to find a way that they can earn from it as well, by bringing people to the festival. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, Andrea, I did say this is a time when we open the floor for questions and or comments from the audience. There are 2 roving mics. Where are the mics? Can you indicate where you are? Okay, great. So just by raise of hand, you may indicate. Oh, Lily, I deliberately looked away. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. No, I really appreciate being here today and hearing the experiences of persons. And while I understand the desire at Calabash not to have the brands, my one encouragement to anybody in here who has anything to do with a festival or anything that you hope to promote, before somebody borrows it from you, you need to protect it for yourself. Because what happens, unfortunately, a number of times, you come up with a brilliant idea and you execute it once. And let's say you're not going to execute it the following year, but the year after. Somebody will come into the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office and they'll say, I'll use Calabash. And they say, oh, we have a literary festival called Calabash. We'd like to get a trademark. So they search, and there's no Calabash registered. No, I know you are. That's why I said I'd use Calabash. And the unfortunate thing is then, we will accept the registration because once you search, there's no evidence of anything else there. The difficulty then is you then will have to contract an attorney at law to get the other mark ruled invalid because there was an existing festival. But the other challenge is because you didn't register it, you're going to have to show that people know about your activity and your event. So it's a whole lot of work that you could have not have to go through if you just took the time to just come into Jaipur and just protect. So I'm encouraging you, if you have any event that you're planning or promoting, because we are very creative people and we like to borrow sometimes without permission. So it's good that you just come in before, we're world beaters in a lot of activities, so you just come in and be the first person past the post and just protect it. Because then when you come to us after, we can't help you. We have to refer you to a private attorney for you to go and then to fight somebody else having yours. And sometimes persons just give up without bothering to engage in, because the fight is not. So I'm just encouraging everybody, if you haven't, or if you're planning something, before you actually execute it, you can come in, because then you can show you have an intention. So I just want to encourage you to do that. Thanks.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think all of us up here would be registered, so.
Yeah, I didn't even look because I'm quite confident they are. Any questions from the audience? I wanted to, no one raising their hand? Don't you all speak at the same time? Gleena.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm seeing a lot of faces in here that I'm familiar with. A lot of you are competitors. But for the four persons on the stage, I would like to know if you feel as though with the different brands that you have and the different features that each of you have, that if it's possible that each of you could come together and collaborate on one event that features the literary arts, reggae music, no alcohol, and a weekend long of partying. How do you feel that that would work for Jamaica? Do you think it can happen? And how would it work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, Scott is taking it. Scott is going to start.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a bit extreme, but certainly I think all of us would agree we're all for collaboration. I mean, in all honesty, I don't know anyone on the stage very well. It's people that I see in passing and know casually, but I would certainly love to pick their brains more and to collaborate with them more. Because it's, sorry? Yeah, or just to work together, or even to be able to help each other with our existing festivals. Because I don't find anyone. There's nobody that I'm competing with locally. That's the way we position ourselves. I'm competing with Dream Weekend. I'm competing against Crop Over in Barbados, and I'm competing against Caravana in Toronto, which are happening at the same time. Those are my competitors. So, I mean, people might feel that, oh, well, Joe is 2 weeks before me someplace. I don't care. Because I'm not trying to get those I'm trying to get people to jump on a plane and answer that tourist. I gladly take them. But that's not my focus. That's not my focus. I'll take anybody, but that everybody's my focus. I'll take a bunch of 75-year-olds if they want to come, but that's just not who's coming. I do think there is room for more collaboration, and there is room for festivals with, I guess, different layers to it or different genres to it. There are some festivals like that happening now, maybe nothing massive, but so yeah, it's possible. Maybe not something as extreme as all four of our products. But
And I made sure to mention no alcohol for that specific reason.
no
I made sure to mention no alcohol. If you think that all of you could come together with an event like that.
Thank you, Stephanie. Anyone want? Okay.
Yes, it can happen. Yeah? Dream Bash Fest Salute. Can work. See, you get the name. Right, Jaipur, we're coming. So hold on now. As far as the details are concerned, we will knock heads together and work that out for you in the future.
This is where we
but
control
the possibility
Tony's
exists.
mic. I saw Simone from Tourism Linkages. I'm not sure if anyone else is here. But just for those of you who will stay after lunch, I see you, Tanya, and I see you, Ingrid. To bear in mind, this conversation about collaboration could go in another form. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to discuss it in the later forum. The tourism linkages may have some data or some objective to give us as why it's important to have different types of events at different times of the year. So might not necessarily want to have everything crushed in one time. We want people to come all year round. So in all their flavors, they're good. Yes, Ingrid?
This question is specifically targeted to Dunn Scott, who I stalk on Instagram, and also Justine. Dunn, you must have had a party or an event that has failed in all the years. Tell me what that was and how did you learn from that? And also, Justine, the Calabash that I've been going to since 2001, it has also evolved over time. And there are years where we had a couple of issues. What did you learn from that, having had that sort of a failure type experience? And how did you evolve from that?
Scott first.
Okay. Yeah. See, definitely an Instagram friend when you call me Dunn Scott. So, yeah, Scott Dunn. Right? So yeah, Dunn Scott is my name on Instagram. So I mean, oh God, the failures are countless. A lot more than the wins, to be perfectly honest. I mean, not every. We tend to make things look a lot better than they are. You know, I tell that to my friends at Jams and JCAP and my friends at the tax department. Our job is to make things look a lot better than they are. But I'll give you a story about my first major event. It was 1994, I believe. It was actually a stage show. It was the first event that Scare Them Crew was headlining, which was at the time Elephant Man, Harry Toddler, Nitty Kochi, Angel, Doulas, Boom Dynamite, Bounty Killers, Little Crew. Sean Paul was on the undercard. Future Troubles was on the undercard, and we had Syndicate and Metro Media, I think it was playing. Was the sound system? Yeah, yeah. This is 94. Well, it was a Sunday event that was supposed to be from 12 noon till 8 p.m. And I spent 4 months killing the road promoting Cactus, Mirage, every House of Leo, every stage show, every dance. I was there promoting this event called Scare Them Uptown. And I said the event was supposed to start at 12, and I can remember it like yesterday. At about 11:58, rain started to fall, and at 8:01, the rain stopped. So the entire duration of the event, and I'm not talking about this was like Gilbert was happening during the event. I had literally 3 friends who were merciful enough to pay and come in the pouring rain, and that was it. It was 3 partners. I think we lost $60,000 each, and to me in 1994 as a college student, that was like, I might as well have lost $10 million. So that was baptism by fire. I swore and that I would never do it again. I was done with events, but here I am. Yeah, it didn't last long.
All right, Justine, and then I want to come over to Joe. Tanya, you had your hand up. Is there anyone else? I've looked at every table, so Tanya.
I think we do learn. Every single year we learn, and one of the reasons that Calabash isn't every year, now it's every 2 years, is we did it for 10 years, and then we realized that the toll that it was taking, because all of us are volunteers. So Kwame and I, and anybody, Philip over there, none of us get paid. So it is a huge drain on us emotionally, mentally, physically, and some years financially, to put on the festival. And yes, there are many times, like usually 3 weeks before the festival, I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm never, ever going to do this again. So we have learned to pace ourselves. We're 18 years older than we were when we started. And so we have learned that we can't be all things to all people, and we needed to take the break. And I actually find that having that break for us is wonderful. We haven't lost our audience, as many people thought we may. In fact, our audience is hungrier than ever now, so I think that is wonderful. So for those people who don't think that they can sustain something every year, we were worried about competition initially. That worry has fallen away. In terms of people coming in on the off years, we welcome it. If it happens, that's fantastic, right? So we continue to learn, we continue to innovate, just in little ways. We realize what music works, what music doesn't work, but we always keep an eye on two things, our authors and our audience, because our authors also don't get paid. So they're our biggest donors in many ways, because these are people that would get 10, 15,000 US for a reading, and they come and give their time. So we make sure that we take care of them very, very well, and our audience, we wouldn't have a festival without an audience. So if we keep our authors and our audience always in our mind, we'll continue to evolve and get better.
All right, we're wrapping up shortly. After Tanya, I want the three people who were sent to Edinburgh by British Council and Ministry to just consider who will respond. But in your experience, based on the workshop you went to, and based on what has been shared here, if there's anything that you would like to share with the promoters in Jamaica from that experience, just consider that, please. Yes, Miss Batson Savage.
They're good. I think we're at afternoon now. First, I wanted to say thank you to all the presenters. I thought this was a very informative session, and it certainly opened my mind, my eyes about a lot of what is happening, and I'm so glad you brought details and stats. I thought the question that was raised earlier about, what is it? Whatever, the merger festival, Dream Bash, Sumfest, right. I thought, and it is possible that I missed the answer because I came in at the start of this as opposed to earlier in the morning, but I thought it would be great to have, whether it's from either of you on the panel, if you know the answer, or somebody else in the audience who's one of the organizers, to talk about what is the country's strategy for leveraging these festivals. You are four of the largest festivals, at least in the country, and in many cases, I'm sure, regionally, and you have excellent potential for revenue, and what this presentation has shown is the way you have created impact, and it's showing a key part of how the creative industries bring jobs, bring income, and bring so much more. So I think a core part of ending this conversation, I think, needs to be, what are the next steps going forward, not just for you as individual festivals, but for the country, because at the end of it, regardless of your earning, and in some of you case, you've pointed out that you're not taking away big money, even though the festival is earning massively, how is the country going to leverage you further?
I mean, I think there's a session a little later on that a lot of people from government will be speaking, including one of my directors, Kamal Banki. But I can tell from what I know, I mean, I sit on a couple of committees with Joe, is what the government has done is they've tried to bring stakeholders to the table in terms of developing policy around entertainment, which is something that we haven't had, certainly for a long time. So now, like, for example, I sit on Reggae Month Committee, Carnival in Jamaica, and Jamrock Summer. And, basically what the government is doing is trying to let people within the industry help to shape the policy going forward and have a seat at the table. But again, as I said, there are people who can speak to it a lot better later on.
Okay, thank you. Enola, Michael, or no? We're good? This is the last one.
To the question Tanya just asked, if you were to identify, I'm going to say the people, because agencies are represented by people ultimately. So if we were to come together to constitute this secretariat that would then advocate for, what needs to happen, lobby, facilitate skill training, and just general leveling up for all players in the industry, who do you think needs to be called to the table? Like individuals to constitute that group who will work as the single body. So in the same way Thundering Hooves work to drive the industry forward.
Okay, Joe lifted his mic, so.
It really takes someone that really has the passion to do it. and believes in it. It's not a committee. It's really got to be a person that does this, that wants to do this, that has the experience to do it, and the drive and willpower to do it. Otherwise, it just won't happen.
Is there someone that comes to mind? Asking for name calling.
You know, when you ask something like this, which is a dreamy idea, I think that it takes so much effort and organization to produce these festivals that there's really not, if someone has to do it, you can't ask us to do everything. Someone just has to do it, and they come up from time to time. I really think that's the answer.
Okay, we had 2 more hands. If it's okay to permit those 2 questions. No, I'm seeing 3. Really? There's a gentleman over here, and there was someone at the back. But we will close after person number 3. We will close.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sonia White. I'm the co-chair of the Trenchtown Festival Committee along with Mr. Junior Lincoln. The Trenchtown Community Festival started in 2001, and we have evolved. We have been through a lot of teething pains. We have not have the thundering wolves that would have propelled us to be on the bigger map, but we are international, so to speak, because my brother Tony Rebel have been on that show, and we have brought out a lot of shining lights, like, what his name? The man with the thing on him back, the man, the Fantan Moja, yes. Yes, a lot of things, and Fantan Moja. What's a Queen Ifrica? That's it, the thundering ground for Egyptian and everything. We bring them. That is the burning clave that they came from. You understand me? We have been out. We had our launch in 2016 where we got our reggae. We had our thing to promote us, that them can put us in the hotel, that we are safe to come into Trenchtown, cultural site and everything. And we didn't have a show last year. But we are down, but we are not out. We're just asking for some thunder and hopes and some helping hands, because our brand is registered and we ain't selling out. And we are not beggars. You understand? We're just looking for more partnership and persons to help us, because it's a community-based cultural thing for Trenchtown. And we're not done, because say we are big fish. We are not small sprats. Thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman over this side, please.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Gregory Smith from the UK. I'm interested in just putting a question to the panel. Your ability to innovate, presumably, is what helps with sustainability. Sort of what I'm interested to know is, have there been any unlikely spin-offs in terms of products and services that have developed out of your events, and could you give us some examples of what they have been or are?
Well, in terms of Calabash, we've had very orchestrated spin-offs. We created a festival so that we would raise awareness about the literary arts, and we have done seminars and workshops. And out of those seminars and workshops have come a lot of success for Jamaican writers. So we've seen very tangible benefits coming out of the festival in terms of just the standard of Jamaican literature being raised just from seeing other authors and poets. So we know that that happens. We also know that at the festival every year, book publishing deals get made, meetings happen, collaborations happen. So there are very tangible economic benefits from the festival that we didn't initially think would happen. So there are those things that we didn't necessarily plan on, that the festival becomes a marketplace. We didn't expect it to become a marketplace, but it has.
Yeah, for Rebel Salute, we have some tangible results also. We have our Rebel Salute Foundation that has taken on some students from Marcus Garvey High School that we deal with their tuition fee and otherwise, and they have been very successful through that. We have helped a whole lot of students, different places, buying computers and all kind of things to help their educational process. We're not to put it in a gleaner every time, because if you're given secrecy, your reward will come openly. So we also help with community tourism where we are, because a lot of times the hotels in our area is where Rebel Salute is definitely filled, and people who have them 2-room and can spare one, is like them do that and achieve something, and in that same process they create a friendship where soon you hear say either a marriage at the place or somebody will leave Jamaica and go otherwise. And one more thing, and we never say a matchmaking place we have down there, but hear this now. One more thing that I noticed this about Rebel Salute without even engineering it from the beginning, or didn't know that it would occur, is that the kind of love and camaraderie that is displayed at Rebel Salute is second to none. If you step on somebody's toe, the person who you step on them toe will tell you sorry. You know what I mean? Because they were in the way. So it's like we're helping to create this paradigm shift within our people's mind. And that is what we actually need. You know what I mean? As an artist, I know that music can do so. And that is why we adamant with the kind of principles. I mean, did I say principles? I did that deliberately. The kind of principles that we display there.
Thanks very much, Justine. And Tony, we have the last point or question.
Hi, my name is June Wong, and I'm with Ligani Jug and Garden. We are the people who put on the Ligani Art Festival. Yes. I sort of feel a little lost in this crowd because, everybody is we're always having sponsors, these great big sponsors for all the performing artists. But us, just like Enola, we suffer from sponsorships. We have struggled with this for about 13 years? Yes, and we have to thank the Tourist Board for coming on in the last 2 years, and they've been really a big help for us because over the years I have suffered personally. Our company has suffered because we have it in our plaza, Ligani Plaza, and all our businesses suffer because in the entire plaza. It's held one day on a Sunday. And what we have found is that when we close off the plaza, everybody loses business. We have tried. I think I'll have to follow Rebel Salute there and do a box because it's also a free event. I hope so. We have never charged for it. I would say we have about 2,000 to 3,000 people attending. Last year, I'm sure we had over 3,000. It's gotten bigger each year, but sponsorship for the visual arts is like very little. So I hope that somebody in the crowd here will listen to us and help us a little bit more. I just wanted to make that comment. But thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you so much. We invite you to stay after lunch. There is actually a specific session that's focusing on sponsorship, and it's some big sponsor who have big money. So if you stay back, you should get some insights there. Thank you so much, everyone, for being great. I know it's almost past your lunchtime. Why not talk when may I talk, though? Seriously? You can speak in hushed tones, but we want to thank our panelists, Mr. Tony Rebel from Rebel Salute, Patrick Tony Rebel Barrett, Justine Hensel from Calabash, Scott Dunn Scott, who is from Dream Entertainment, and Joseph, Josef, I got it right, Bogdanovich, from Summerfest Productions right now. You tell me. Downsound Productions, Downsound Entertainment, who manages Sumfest. It has been our pleasure. We hope that what they shared would have informed you a bit. We hope that they can learn from each other. We hope that you will learn from them. That table is so talking Ligani, Dragon Garden. My name is Colleen Douglas. It was my absolute pleasure being here. Enjoy lunch, enjoy the rest of the day, and I hand over to the very young millennial Debbie Bissoon.
You said that with such
bitterness.
Yes.
I'm over
But
40,
you've done
that's
well,
why.
Auntie Colleen.